It's near impossible to get noticed on Etsy, and the market is super flooded with people trying to sell the same products. I have 20 listings in my store and spent 2 weeks on them. In 3 months, I've had 2 views. I've been in print on demand for 2+ years, I have 500 designs, and I barely make any money. So, you know, I get comments like that every day on this channel, and I find it really interesting because about a month or so ago I found a product niche that I wanted to test out on Etsy using print on demand products. So I created a brand new Etsy store. And over a week I slowly added in 25 print on demand products using designs that I created with Canva and Midjourney, and a day later the store had its first sale. And since then, I've been slowly adding in more products for testing, and as I have, the sales have also organically grown. In fact, I checked my sales today and saw that in the past week, this test store has done about $200 worth of sales, with a profit margin of about 25 to 40% depending on the product that's been sold. And just to clarify, the store is brand new, it has no social media presence or social proof, it has no store reviews, and it does not sell custom products. The store is working entirely passively on autopilot. So that got me thinking, why is it that I set up a little test store and within weeks it became a passive income source that I can now grow, whereas others spend 2 years uploading 500 designs and are lucky to make even just 1 sale? It's an interesting question, right? So I wanted to make a video to share with you the 7 things that I did that I think made a pretty big difference. 1. I optimized listings for the new listing impression algorithm. So if I had to guess, I think that the most common question that I get asked is this: Sarah, how can I get people to actually view my items on Etsy? They just get lost in a sea of products. It's a good question. So you have to understand that there are 2 main sources of traffic on Etsy. The first is very simple, it's search traffic. It's when you search for an item and Etsy shows you results. And then the second, arguably more important form of traffic is the recommended items. It's when you come to, say, your homepage and Etsy shows you items that they think that you might like. And over time, for many people, this has become the primary way that they buy products on Etsy. And it's no surprise, because it's how most big websites work these days. Take YouTube. Yes, you can come to YouTube and do a search for a video topic that you want to watch, but that's not how most people do it. Most people just come to their homepage and watch whatever video that YouTube recommends to them. Well, what websites like YouTube and Etsy will do is they will give new videos and new products test impressions on showcase pages like the homepage. Basically, when you upload a product to Etsy, they will show it to a small number of people on, say, their homepage and see if anybody clicks on it. And then, like dominoes, if someone does click on it, they'll then show it on more homepages, which will then get more clicks, and so on. Etsy makes money by having more products and more stores succeed, which is why they designed their algorithm to give all stores, including new stores, a chance. So it was this algorithm that I took advantage of to bring in the customers to my store. However, there is definitely some luck involved with it. Because you think about it, if you create, say, a dog t-shirt, but Etsy goes out and puts it on the homepage of someone that likes cats, then that person will never click on your item and this traffic source might fizzle out. Sadly, we can't control who Etsy tests our product in front of. However, we can increase the chances that Etsy will test our product in front of the right people by giving Etsy as much information about it as possible, which means then that you need to be very descriptive with, say, your title, your description, and your tags. But it also means filling out as much information as you can, such as filling out the product attributes. That way, for example, if someone likes items in the hippie niche and your item is in that style, Etsy can know to put it in front of someone who has a history of buying items like that. 2. I focused on quality, not quantity. Another key to keep in mind that if you want to make money quickly is that you have to be efficient with your time, which is why I find it very strange when people just add in hundreds of items into their stores just because. I think, for example, of the viewer from earlier who'd spent 2 years uploading 500 designs and getting no traction. Look, I can't see their store, so I can only make guesses. But my guess is that their designs were probably low quality and that they weren't interesting enough that if somebody saw it, that they would want to click on it. That's also why I find it so odd anytime someone asks me, Sarah, why do you spend so much time talking about creating products and designs to sell and you don't talk about traffic? Because the answer to that, of course, as I've hopefully explained in this video, is that if you have great designs, that therefore equals great traffic. As you can see, when Etsy puts your new product in front of a test group of people on, say, their homepage, they cannot see anything about your store. They can't see how many reviews you've had, how many sales you've had. The only thing that they can see is your product picture. People are only clicking on designs purely by how they look, and if you get a click from those test impressions, Etsy will then put your product in front of more people, which will result in more clicks, which over time, more sales, which is exactly why I spend so much time talking about this. And why I would never recommend focusing on uploading a specific number of products like I know a lot of people do. And by the way, if you're watching this and you would like to learn how I create and design products that entice customers to click on them and buy them, you should be sure to download my free ebook, which I will have a link to in the video description below. By the way, people have been reading my ebook and they have been reviewing it on Goodreads, which I absolutely appreciate. So thank you so much for everyone that's done so. 3, I used myself as a yardstick to create clickable products. Okay, I can imagine a bunch of people are saying, all right, Sarah, you say it's a waste of time to just add in bad designs that are not clickable, but how am I supposed to know if my design is good or if it's bad? After all, what makes art good or bad? It is entirely subjective, and that is absolutely true, which is exactly why I love to use myself as a yardstick. To do that, pick a niche that you yourself are a customer in. So, like me, do you love dogs and like to buy dog merchandise? Great, create designs around that. Or are you instead passionate about hiking and camping and like to buy merchandise themed around that? Great, create designs for that niche instead. By doing that, you can always ask yourself an important question while designing it. Okay, if I saw this design on another product being recommended to me, would I want to click on it? If I saw this design as a t-shirt on Etsy, would I click it and open it up? If so, great, upload it. If you wouldn't, don't bother. 4, I didn't copy others, I created designs that filled a gap in the market. So in addition to using yourself as a yardstick, another really easy way to create a great design is to focus on niches and sub-niches which don't have a lot of good options already. Case in point, let's leave Etsy for a moment and actually hop on over to another website, Redbubble. I once had a viewer who left a comment sharing their Redbubble store with me, telling me that within a few days of opening their store that they had made money, which was pretty cool. So I decided to check out and open their store, and when I did, I quickly realized that all of their sales had likely come from just 2 designs that they had created. And one of them was this, a photo of a rocky beach that customers really like to buy as a bath mat. So out of curiosity at the time, I went to Redbubble and did a search for other bath mats featuring beach photos, and I quickly noticed a pattern. Everyone else had uploaded photos of standard cliche white sandy beaches, and nobody else except the store had uploaded any photos of rocky beaches, which was a great opportunity. Because while it's true that probably 90% of people prefer white sandy beaches, there is a small percentage of people that prefer rocky beaches. As there were no other options, any decent photo that had been uploaded would have been considered an amazing product to these customers, which is why focusing on niches like that is so much easier in my opinion. So on to my next tip, but before I do, a quick word from today's sponsor, me. Yes, there are so many shady sponsors on YouTube these days that for now I have decided to sponsor my own videos. So I'm sponsoring it to let you know that if you would like to create your own Etsy print-on-demand store but you don't know how, you should be sure to check out my course, the Ecom Clubhouse. It shows you how to set up an Etsy store, how to come up with product ideas, and even how to optimize Etsy listings. If you'd like to see if my video course is right for you, I'll have a link to it in the video description. But for now, back to the video. 5. I focused on mid-tier pricing to take advantage of price anchoring. So another question I get asked often is this. Sarah, how am I supposed to make any money on Etsy after product costs and Etsy fees? And I'm honestly a bit confused when people ask me these questions, to be honest. Because there are so many free Etsy profit calculators out there, like this one here from CraftyBase, which you can use to check to see what the profit margin will be for your product if you set it at a particular price. That way, you can make sure that you're making a profit on your product rather than making a loss. Now, of course, I'm sure some people are gonna reply with, "Oh, Sarah, have you seen the prices that people are pricing their items for on Etsy? People are selling their t-shirts for less than $10. Sarah, if I sold my t-shirts for less than $10 on Etsy, I would make no money. It's impossible to make a profit." And I always think, well, gee, here is a crazy idea. Maybe don't try to compete to have the lowest price possible. Because frankly, you don't have to, and I believe you shouldn't, thanks to the psychological phenomena of price anchoring. See, here's the really strange thing. When you start to think about it, pricing is entirely subjective. If I ask 10 different people what a t-shirt is worth, chances are I'll get a range of different answers because no one honestly really knows what a t-shirt is worth. We all just make up a price. And the way that we usually do that is with price anchoring. Price anchoring is a psychological phenomena where we use other products' prices to help us decide what another product's price should be, with most people deciding it should be somewhere in the middle. An interesting study with beer showed this in action. In the study, a restaurant put 2 beers on the menu, a premium beer for $2.50 and a cheap beer for $1.80. Well, 80% of people would choose the premium beer, not the cheap beer. In phase 2 of the study, a restaurant listed 3 beers on the menu, a premium beer for $2.50, a standard beer for $1.80, and a super cheap beer for $1.60. And now, 80% of people chose the $1.80 beer. And then in phase 3 of the study, they offered 3 beers, a super premium beer for $3.40, a standard beer for $2.50, and a cheap beer for $1.60. And guess what? 80% of people chose the $2.50 beer. And so when you try to compete for the lowest possible price on Etsy, not only are you losing money per sale, but you're potentially hurting your sales too. People are skeptical of the lowest price product, but they also don't want to be ripped off by the highest price product, which is why most people will want to purchase a product that's priced somewhere in the middle. 6. I showed my products being used by a real person. So here is the thing. In addition to Etsy wanting to see that people are interested in clicking on your item, they also do want to see that some of those people are going to go on to buy it. Again, it's like dominoes. You get one sale and Etsy goes, oh, people like this, and they start showing it to more people, and so your sales go up and you make more money. As a new store, you're obviously at a disadvantage because you don't have social proof and you don't have reviews yet, so you need to take advantage of every opportunity that you have to increase your conversions. Which is why I make sure to include lifestyle photos of my products actually being used by a real person, because studies have shown that something we all intuitively know, and that is that when we see a photo of a product being used by a real person, it makes us far more likely to actually buy it. And it's a question I'm actually often asked. Sarah, how can I get photos of my products being used in a lifestyle context? And well, my favorite app to do this is absolutely Placeit. Placeit has 2 different types of accounts. They've got a paid account and they've got a free account that gets you access to thousands of photos. You just upload your design and then Placeit will literally place it onto a product. 7. I created my own luck by being persistent. So, as I said earlier, when you're creating a new Etsy store, there is definitely some luck involved. Because as I said, when you create a new listing and it gets test impressions on, say, a random person's homepage, you have no control over who Etsy chose to put it in front of. And so sometimes you just get unlucky because Etsy puts it in front of the wrong person, they don't click on it, and then they stop giving it impressions. And so because of that, it is especially important to be persistent. Take, for example, that person that added in just 20 items into their store, got no traction, and then gave up. Well, as I said at the start of this video, for the first week, I didn't get a sale either. It wasn't until I'd added in my 25th item that I got a sale within my store. And so just imagine then, if this person had also added in another 5 products too. Perhaps it would have been their 25th product that would have won the Etsy lottery and been matched with the right customer. And now, like me, Etsy's algorithm would have more data on who their right customer is. They could then use that to pair their other products with the right customers now. And so that store could also have potentially become a passive income source too, ready to be scaled up. But of course, we'll never know, but perhaps we would have known if they had been persistent. So then, did you learn something new? If so, please subscribe. And if you're interested in learning more about print on demand, be sure to watch my video, 10 things to do before you start a print on demand store. I'll see you over in the next video.